sound check and a video check. Can everybody see my screen and hear me properly?
Yes, Ravi. Hare Krishna and Danda Pranam. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prem Chaitanya Prabhu. Paramanand Chaitanya Prabhu.
Haribol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirate Nashtaprayasya Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Naishtuki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going to be reading from Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 22, text number 3. I'm going to link up to Veda base. Tatranaya Shrijap Chasman Dosasrat Sahasrapat Hridaya Tasya Hi Brahma Shatramanga Prachakshate Tatranaya Shrijat Chasman Dosasrat Sahasrapat Hridaya Tasya Hi Brahma Shatramanga Prachakshate Tatranaya Srijat Chasman Dosasrat Sahasrapat Hridayam Tasya Hi Brahma Shatramangam Prachakshate Tatranaya Srijat Chasman Dosasrat Sahasrapat Hridayam Tasya Hi Brahma Shatramangam Prachakshate. Synonyms. Tat Tranaya, for the protection of the Brahmanas. Asrijat, created. Cha, and. Asman, as Kshatriyas. Doh Sahasrat, from his 1,000 arms. Sahasrapat, the 1,000-legged Supreme Being, the universal form. Hridayam, heart. Tasya, his. He, for. Brahma, Brahmanas. Shatram, the Kshatriyas. Angam, arms. Prachakshate, are spoken of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. For the protection of the Brahmanas, the 1,000-legged Supreme Being created us, the Kshatriyas, from his 1,000 arms. Hence, the Brahmanas are said to be his heart and the Kshatriyas his arms. Purport. Kshatriyas are specifically meant to maintain the Brahmanas because if the Brahmanas are protected, then the head of the civilization is protected. Brahmanas are supposed to be the head of the social body. If the head is clear and has not gone mad, then everything is in proper position. The Lord is described thus, Namo Brahmanaya Devaye Go Brahmanaya Hitayecha. The purport of this prayer is that the Lord specifically protects the Brahmanas and the cows, and then he protects all other members of the society, Jagat Ditaye. It is his will that universal welfare work depends on the protection of cows and Brahmanas. Thus, Brahmanical culture and cow protection are the basic principles for human civilization. Kshatriyas are especially meant to protect the Brahmanas, as is the supreme will of the Lord, Go Brahmanaya Hitayacha. As the heart is a very important part within the body, so the Brahmanas are also the important element in human society. The Kshatriyas are more like the whole body. Even though the whole body is bigger than the heart is more important. Hare Krishna. Om Agnyantimirandasyya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupa Kathahmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Putale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today, what we're going to be learning, the main focus is going to be a brief background on Kardama Muni. This chapter is entitled The Wedding, the Marriage of Kardama Muni and Mother Devahuti. So how it is set up and then how it comes to be. So we'll have a brief background on who Kardama Muni is and Mother Devahuti. Then understanding the significance of Varnashrama Dharma. Of course, all these points, many of us know. So it could be like a revision. So that's what we'll get into. And perhaps maybe there will be something new that may come up, which would be of value to all of us. And then very importantly, the revival of the Sanatan Dharma based on this Varnashram Dharma, revival of the Sanatan Dharma and how Prabhupada wanted it to be, what his vision was for the Sanatan Dharma. So, based on Prabhupada's purpose in Bhagavatam, who is Kardama Muni and Mother Devahuti, we'll have a quick overview. So these are the pictures, of course, got from the internet, different sites. Kardama Muni, he was the son of Brahma, born from his shadow in the mode of goodness, one of the Prajapatis. So what he had done is for about 10,000 years, he meditated and attained perfection. We know that there are different processes to have perfection in life, the purpose of life, the goal of life. And of course, in those times, it was through meditation. People had very long lives. Their lifespan was very long. And of course, the mind wasn't as contaminated. The conditioning, the material conditioning was there, but at a very minuscule level. So the ability to control the mind and stay fully absorbed. So that's how Kardama Muni, by attaining perfection. And he was known as a Mahayogi. As I mentioned, he was one of the Prajapati, husband of Devahuti, from whom the world population came forth. We know there are these 12 Prajapatis, and they are the ones whose progenies, it kept multiplying. So you can trace back, the roots, so to say, the family tree would be coming to one of the Prajapatis. He is the father, very illustrious, father of Lord Kapila Dev. Kapila Dev is an incarnation of Sri Krishna who taught the Sankhya system of philosophy, a very analytical study of the material world and the condition. And once we are able to discriminate that this is what matter is all about, and this is who I am, spirit, soul, then that's how we could achieve perfection. Now, whatever we see in the slides, which is in the italic and the blue font, is a learning instruction for us. He saw Krishna in his original form by dint of his meditation and devotional service. So Krishna he's right now present besides us in the audience. He's listening, he's seeing, he's witnessing, not only within us, even outside us. And we can actually have this experience, just as we have experience of having personal experiences with so many family, friends, even strangers, office, wherever it is. How do you do it? Now here, because of that time, place, circumstances, it was meditation, but more importantly was bhakti, devotional service. And that same opportunity in the most easy manner is given to us, the process of bhakti, through acharyas, through gurus, through the Guru Parampara system. Mahaprabhu came, simply just chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just by saying this, we can attain not only perfection, but have this. Kardama Muni saw Krishna. He saw Krishna in his original form. That literal same is available to us in such a conditioned and degraded manner by chanting the Mahamantra. Now, excuse me, Mother Devahuti, she is the daughter of a Manu. Manu is like, you can say, the emperor, wherever the creation is, the chief. Swayambhuva Manu and the sister, very illustrious family, sister of Priyartvarth, Uttanapad, Akuti, and Prashuti. So they had married Daksha. Now, at a very, Mataji was a mystic yogi. These eightfold yoga practices, she had completely mastered these eightfold yoga, Ashtanga yoga, and she is known as the Yoga Lakshana. Now, here another instruction. She heard the glories of Kardama Muni, this ascetic, and just by hearing, she got attracted to him. That love developed, and she decided, I'm going to marry only Kardama Muni and nobody else. And that's how her father approached Kardama Muni and brought the marriage proposal, and Kardama Muni accepted it. So that's what this chapter is about. Hearing. Hearing is such an important, we know there are the 9 processes of perfection, of bhakti, and it starts with what? Shravanam. Shravanam is hearing. Even Mother Rukmini, she heard the glories of Shri Krishna and fell in love with him. So when we know about a person, that's when we develop an attraction to that person. When we hear the glories, we develop an attraction to that person. And that's how our dormant relationship that we have gets awakened. She served her Lord perfectly, so much so after marriage. She was a queen. I mean, imagine the daughter of the ruler of the entire creation, the material. And with Swayambhuva Manu, she's a daughter. Can you imagine the luxury? And he was just a sadhu, a hermit, living in a small little ashram. Very simple living, high thinking. But she served him so well, not caring for her own being, became emaciated. So serving the Lord perfectly. Now, what does perfection mean? Yesterday or day before in Sunday school, these little children, they put such a beautiful, so sweet, their drama of Lord Rama, right? And there were so many technical difficulties, little children. We also had Lakshmana wearing spectacles, glasses on stage. Now, there were, one sense you may say, full of imperfection, but it was so sweet, it won the audience's hearts. People were clapping and cheering so loudly for these little children. How happy Krishna will be. Krishna sees our intent. He sees our intent. Of course, we have to strive to do the best of our ability and not take it casual. So she served her Lord perfectly. Then she, of course, is the mother of Kapila Dev, who taught her the Sankhya. What does Sankhya do? Overcome suffering through cultivating discrimination and by releasing the soul from its entanglement and matter. So all this comes together, Shravanam, Seva. So when we do the Shravanam, Kirtanam, we understand now this whole Bhagavatam will take us step by step in a very logical manner. Yeah. So this is Mother Devahuti and Kardama Muni. Now the Varnashram Dharma, Prabhupada called it the stepping stone to spiritual understanding. So it is three words. Varna is categorization. Ashrama is from the root word shrama, which means making an effort towards liberation. Shrama is like work, right? Towards what? There's a particular goal, liberation from what? This conditioned state that we are in. And dharma is the essential characteristic of anything which defines that particular thing. In absence of it, it ceases to be. So, for example, the dharma of sugar is sweetness. The dharma of water is wetness. Dharma of chili is spiciness. What is the dharma of we, the living entity, the spirit soul? It is service. You cannot take away service from the living entity. We are always serving. Either we are serving our own interest or extensions of ours. We are always serving. And the best position where we are natural is where we are serving the whole of which we are part of, Shri Krishna. So here are the four categories: is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the Shudra. You all are very familiar with this. So please understand the revision. It is a natural everywhere that you go. It's not something which is an Eastern school of thought, or it is Vedic, or it is quote unquote Hindu. No, it is anywhere you go, you'll find this system. Classification of human society based on the psychological and physical nature of the person. So the material occupations and the spiritual stages. See over here, towards liberation, right? So it brings about whatever is the material, physical, shrama. You do that work and you come towards liberation. Now the Varnashram system emphasizes quality and work, not by birth. Sadly, it got corrupted in a power play by those who were, Brahmana is the heart or the head of society. So then Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, and then Shudras. So as a power play, they said, okay, my son. Now the chances are the son of a Brahmana will become a Brahmana because of the environment is conducive to develop characteristics and qualities of a Brahmana. However, that's not what the Shastras say. It is based on the quality and the work that you do that assigns you to a particular ashram and, whatever is the occupation you do, whatever you're a Brahmana or a Shudra, whatever these four may be. So, in our culture, the Vedic culture, not just this Varnashram system, nothing promotes separation of human beings, based on the person's race, caste, sex, birth. Many people make this claim that, that religion is always keeping women as a second-class citizen and she doesn't have all the rights, this, that, and all. That is because of limited understanding or zero understanding. People don't know what the Shastras are, and they just make long, tall claims, either to be popular or whatever it is. I mean, which system respects all women as Mataji? The natural tendency or the general tendency of the male is to consider women as sex objects. The first thought which comes in mind is male, female. And if it is a female, then immediately, all those perverted thoughts come in the mind. And of course, some people may pass a comment, but they have that, like they say, they undress with the eyes. Just imagine how women feel. Talk to any woman, how they feel in public. Some pass comments, and some go even a step further and enforce their will. But here is this culture where you treat women with the same respect you have for your mother, Mataji. So how can you say that there is discrimination based on birth? If we understand what it is, then we know that, oh, it is in context. Hari Kishore Prabhu was quoting his Guru Maharaj, Srila Radha Govinda Swami. Scriptures are not text, scriptures are context. We have to be very, very clear on this understanding, and context based not on what I think and I analyze and I come to a conclusion, context based on what the Guru Sadhu Shastras, what they say it is. Then we get the whole picture, the big picture, as they say. Now, these are the 5 pillars of Sanatan Dharma as envisioned by Srila Prabhupada. All credit to His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu. He is the disciple of Bhakti Vikas Swami, and they have a Vedic system in some place in Gujarat, Saurashtra or somewhere in Gujarat. They've already established this. So the 5 pillars was, first is an internal transformation. Apna Krishna Nam says, right, that information is meant to bring about transformation. So the first pillar, what Prabhupada had asked for, is the internal transformation by chanting and renunciation. Renunciation means not artificial Markat Vairagya or Smashan Vairagya. In full knowledge, whatever is not conducive to bringing me closer to Krishna, uska tyag kar deta main, and whatever it is, I use it, Yukta Vairagya principle in Krishna's service. The Brahmanical, the studies of the Shastras, the sharing with others. So next comes to this national transformation, and we'll speak a little bit about that. Spread of the Sanatan Dharma. Yare dekhe taro kaho Krishna Upadesh. Social transformation through all these ceremonies. Simheshwara Prabhu does on Saturday morning, right? He does this Narsingha Yajna. Initially, there were very few people, and with his desire and with Prabhupada's blessing, more and more people are able to participate now. So different samskaras, vivas, agricultural. The economy, as if it's just based on farming and cow protection. There's enough for everybody, no shortages. I was reading Oklahoma produces enough wheat to feed the whole world for 2 weeks. Over 7 billion people it can sustain for 2 weeks. Think about it. Still, we have over 1 billion people, close to 1 billion people in starvation mode. Starvation means khana nahi hai khane ko, not that, intermittent fasting and all these diets that people are following now. There's no food to eat. They want to eat, no food. Children going to bed starving. So sad. And then, of course, the defense transformation through Kshatriya. Now, we'll speak a little bit more about this Yare Dekhe Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. There is a small child in our congregation. She's 11 years old. She and her parents, it's a family of 6, father, mother, and 4 daughters. The eldest is 11, and the youngest is 4 years. They are in Sunday school. They came in contact with ICNJ in September, October of last year. Mother homeschools the children, and Nitya Mataji, Vijay Prabhu. The eldest is Kamala, then Kamakshi, there is Kantimati, and Rukmini. These are the family. And they have spontaneously taken up to Krishna consciousness. Mataji was finding information on homeschooling. She came to a Krishna conscious site and liked it, is implementing that method. And that's how she joined the congregation. Recently, the 2 older girls, they took Prabhupada Ashraya, they took the vows of chanting. Now, her mom sent me a link, which I'll share with you. Please pay attention. And my humble request is, help this child, and more of what we can do in, Prabhupada's envision, his vision, how we can make it into a reality. So please listen. It's a short clip, an audio clip. She has started, this 11-year-old child has started a podcast. And her first one, it's called Krishna Talks. Her first one is life miserable?
Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to Krishna Talks. I am Kamala Vijay, and in this episode, I am going to talk about an experience I had. So, life is wonderful, right? But one day, while I was studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, this shloka came out 1.2.6. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, no material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries, and the temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. As a tween, I couldn't quite grasp what this meant. Even though my mom tried to help me understand what this meant, it was still a very distant concept to me. Around the same time, my family came to know about an elderly devotee who was in a senior rehabilitation center. His family was seeking people to go visit him at the center, so my family and I volunteered to go. On a Thursday afternoon, we made the hour-long drive to the center. As we stepped into the lobby, we were taken aback at how much it looked like a luxury hotel. After our IDs were checked, we were told to go to the third floor. As we stepped in, we saw how many elderly people who were sick and needed help to live. A lot of them were lonely and staring into space with blank expressions. We saw suffering all around us in different forms. It was very sorrowful to see people suffering like this at the end of their lives. They were once very young and active, just like me, weren't they? In the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi idastatra namuhyati. Translation: just as the embodied soul continuously passes from childhood to youth to old age, similarly, at the time of death, the soul passes into another body. The wise are not deluded by this. We spent some time at the center doing kirtan, and then we left. We walked out in shocked silence. The atmosphere was very depressing because I never knew there was so much suffering around me, even though I've read about it. I have always been distant from the suffering, mentally and physically. Now I understand when Srimad Bhagavatam talks about life's miseries, it also provides a solution to escape from the cycle of life and death. Chanting the Mahamantra is the only respite in Kali Yuga. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 6, is a beautiful shloka. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam. Kalo nasteva, 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 tatiranyata. Translation: in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. I will end this episode with a quote by Srila Prabhupada. One who acts to serve Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, and words is a liberated soul, even within this material world. And I dedicate this episode to Srila Prabhupada and my parents. That's it for this episode, everybody. Hare Krishna and keep chanting.
Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, just see, they say child is the father of man. See this 11-year-old child. Incidentally, this is entirely her creation. She hasn't been helped by her mother. Mataji was mentioning, all she did was just a little grammatical corrections in the script, the idea, the flow, and on the first take, this is not rehearsed, it's just on the first take. So a child has this of spreading Krishna Upadesh through the medium of podcasts. How much more we as adults can be doing. I found it so inspiring. I'll end this in the next 30 seconds. We already have gone up 2 minutes. Please forgive me over time. Parmanand Prabhu, on Sunday, we were in the Prasadam line and he says that, Prabhu, we need help with book distribution. We need people. There aren't enough people. And I said, okay, how many? So he says about 4-5 will be great if we can get 4-5 devotees. You know that they come on weekends, Saturday or Sunday. Typically, it's to some Indian grocery store. And there will be a group of devotees who do kirtan. And then there is other group devotees who actually engage with the public, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. So that's another way of doing Yare Dekhe Tara Kaho. So the humble request is, I know we're all in the same boat as Grahastis, that we have, you get a weekend and there is housework to be done, laundry, groceries, so many, cleaning the house, so many work. But just keep this instruction of Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj in mind, that when the desire to serve exceeds one's capacity and capabilities, divine empowerment happens. And it works. Try it out. The only consideration is just think about it. Don't think about how something cannot be done, but rather what can be done to make it happen. Then all arrangements fall into place. And please join subscribe to Kamala's podcast. It'll really lift that child's spirits up. It will be good for us also. And she's also going to be in her podcast bringing in guests. So she may approach you and, have a question answer session. Thank you very much, everybody. Apologies again for going over time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Madhupati Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Madhupati Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Amritananda Pr. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo,
Jai
Jai
Nrsinga, Jai Nrsinga, Praladesha, Jai Padmukha Padma. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnu Jyotintam Sarvatomukham.
Nrsinga
Bhishana Bhadram Mrityam Namamyaham.
Nrsinga Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the Samal Vaishnavas. Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhyo Pititanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah.
Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.
Thank you, Amritananda Prabhuji.